Okay, let me turn off Slack because it's kind of chewing up my CPU. We are recording. All right, everyone, and to ourselves, our future selves, as we come back and review this. What we're doing is we are going through releasing MicroProfile for candidate release 1. So this occurs infrequently enough doing a release, every 4 months or so, that it takes a while for it to be committed to memory. So it's useful to record the process as we go through this for our future selves and potentially for future committers as well, although the process may change, right, as we go, as we evolve the process. So, okay, we are recording. This will be uploaded. So Edwin, go ahead and share your screen.
Yes. So this is the PR in the GitHub.
Okay,
This is the project checkouts.
Okay, how do we want to do this here? So I'm gonna get that one out of the way. Okay, yep. The one thing I was going to do while you do this is I was going to go back to GitHub and just verify that these are the most recent releases. Because when you started this, someone else may have updated their candidate releases. So I thought I'd just go back and double check.
I have a question.
What's that?
I have a question. Just how similar is the process of releasing now under Jakarta? Is the same process, or is going to change?
The process is of what we're doing, and I haven't really gone through it post Jakarta. Sorry, not Jakarta, MicroProfile, is that it should be the same because this isn't Eclipse processes per se. This is how do we MicroProfile actually do a release. Where it may change that we're discussing right now is that we put things into the staging area and it's voted on in the staging area, right? So that's the one thing that's a little bit different. But what we're going through is, committers, the release leads, which is basically ourselves. Someone's got to, go and update the content, which is what we're going to review right now. Someone different has to accept the PR, approve the PR, right? Then we have to do a build through Jenkins, through a Jenkins instance. And all that stuff really doesn't change. And the Jenkins instance will push something into the staging repo. And then we have to go through and do a couple of other things that may change after the fact. But it's, we don't know until we actually go through it, right? So.
Yeah, well, staging the changes is not different from this, like we are going to do now.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's not going to be any different, except I think I think we have to make it. Is it public already? It might already be public. I mean, these are things that we kind of have to check out. But all right, so I need to change it over. And okay, so let's go through the PR. And normally we don't do this face-to-face like this, right? Someone will do a PR offline. Someone else, asynchronously offline will review the PR and stuff like that. But since we're doing this to record it, we're all kind of here at the same time. Okay. Okay, what's important here on the screen is notice that Edwin signed the commit. So one of the things that you'll have to do is when you do your commit, make sure that it's signed and verified. Yeah. There you go.
Signed and signed off, both.
Yes. Okay, so you want to click on the release tracking issue right there. It's right below the signed off by and verified. Yeah, the 8 tasks. Go down. I'm curious. Yeah, just open that new tab or something like that. Oh, okay, it's that one. Okay.
Oh, I'm mixing it up. There we go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's right. I was just wondering what that was. It's that issue that's been there for a long time. We're not going to muck with that issue right now because we're just doing a candidate release.
Yes.
Okay.
So go back to the PR.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to pull up just on my local machine here, MicroProfile -config. I'm just looking at
The latest release candidate there.
Yeah, the latest release candidate to make sure that it's up to date with what's in there. I see 2.0 RC1 is the latest. Oh, actually, sorry, scroll up again. I want to do a lot of order. I forgot that you made some other updates. So let's take them one by one. All right. What did you change here? You just changed my
removed the Eclipse.
Okay. Is everything else the same? Actually, I'm not too worried about it. So here's the thing. We've got all these docs, and they're kind of discussing the MicroProfile project, not the MicroProfile working group. With this candidate release, maybe what we'll do, since we're all on the phone at the same time, is just accept all of these changes. Well, assuming that we all agree, and then before we do candidate release 2, it's probably worth going back, and unless you've already done this, Edwin, and do more than just kind of change, remove the Eclipse and update the component release versions. Is there anything else more fundamental that we need to do?
Yeah, I came across the copyright years, but nothing else. These were the 3 things: the copyrights, the release candidates and milestones, and the MicroProfile capitalization and removing of Eclipse. That's what this is all about.
Right. Okay. You want to scroll up a little bit? We'll take these one by one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one, right, just removes Eclipse. Okay, package name, this is in the notice. Goes to MicroProfile. Okay, so that's it for the notice. That's it for contributing. Let's scroll down to README. All right, I'm trying to figure out what's changed.
Capitalization here.
Ah, very good, very good. God, how did that get biased for so long?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is in the README. So Emerson, one thing to note is, in the READMEs, we update the version numbers, but we do not update the version numbers in the pom.xml. So what happens is when we actually do a release through Jenkins, the Jenkins release script will actually automatically update the release for us. So just an FYI, and for anyone else in the future, we do have to do it here, but not necessarily at pom.xml. Okay.
Yeah. So we have to change it here to the release we expect it to become.
Yes, and that's correct. This is release candidate 1.
Capitalization again.
Ah, very good. Did you do like a global search?
Yeah, that's my secret.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And I don't understand how this got by for so long. So this is good. Yeah. This is kind of embarrassing. We're recording this.
Yeah, it's really inconsistent. So it's now all consistent.
Right. Okay. Let's keep going. Up. Right. Okay. That looks okay. Right. Capitalization again.
Mm-hmm. Here, remove the Eclipse.
Right. Good. Okay. Remove the Eclipse again. And remove the Eclipse again. Eclipse.adoc.
Capitalization.
Capitalization.
Removed Eclipse.
Right.
Removed Eclipse.
Okay.
Removed. So this is in the pom.xml, but no changes other than these textual changes.
Yeah, that looks okay. Hold on. Mailing list, right? That's fine. MicroProfile dev, that's fine. Okay. All right. So by the way, Emerson, Edwin and I have done this before. So Edwin's got a little bit of a little bit of experience doing this, but he's never had commit privileges. So this time through, what we want to do is, have him actually go through the process since he now has commit privileges.
Yeah, not officially. It's still not active, so
It's
I'm still waiting
active?
for the. I'm waiting for the confirmation. Yeah.
Okay.
But I should, but I should have it by the time we can release.
Okay.
I hope. Otherwise, there will be something wrong.
Well, I was hoping to actually do the candidate 1 release today as a part of this.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I should have mentioned that, but
No. Well, you did. Someone said it could take like up to a week or something like that during, I think, the last call. So I'm not all that worried about it. I was just kind of optimistic that you could do it, but that's okay. No worries.
All right.
Okay.
So capitalization here.
Yep.
Remove Eclipse and capitalization here.
All right, 2 for 1.
So here's the 2020 update. So the MicroProfile release candidate 1, milestone to release candidate, release candidate, removed Eclipse.
Yeah. So now we're in the architecture. Typically, there's 2 docs that we kind of have to update quite a bit, but they're boilerplate, so it's not difficult. Emerson, there's this architecture doc, and you just go through and basically update, the component specs. We don't add and remove component specs very often. Pretty soon we might with like metrics and telemetry coming up, but overall, it's just you go in, you change the release numbers, and you go and you update all the releases for the release versions for all the component specs. So it's very boilerplate. Okay, so this is where I want to just do some double checking. So config is RC1. What's next? That verifies. All right, next one is fault tolerance. They're at RC2. All right, let's do health. And I'm just double checking here in my local system. Oops. And this is literally what would I do as well. They're at RC4.
I have RC5. I found it in the.
They do have an RC5, but what they didn't do. So I'm going to share. Actually, no. Go to. I'll just paste this in. Oops. Paste this in the chat. Go to chat and bring up this link in your browser. So it's kind of release gatekeepers. So it should be there. There we go. We have to kind of go through and make sure that people, and you don't have to click on that yet. You'll notice that they didn't do what we have below, right? We have to make sure that they have this basically text, MicroProfile 3.0 RC4 with the Java doc and the spec links and all this stuff, right? We need to make sure that they do this for all, for the releases. So they did the release, but they kind of forgot to come back and update this. And if you actually go to, let's see, oh, you're not committer yet, so you can't do it. So like I could go in and edit this and do these updates if I wanted to. That's one way of doing it. Or another one is to, and occasionally I'll do that if it's very straightforward, or I'll contact the release lead. If you look at Xdefunc. So what we would do is send an email off to him and say, please update this. So we should do that. And we could do that after the call. So we're kind of gatekeepers to ensure quality around these things. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is RC5. So take a note, Edwin, to send an email and say, hey, please update the RC5 text at this link. Release information, release details. I don't even know what we call it.
So what is going to change is just the blue text, the link.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, that's really all this is. So if you look at the Javadoc spec PDF and stuff, they link to the RC4 builds. So really what we would almost do is copy and paste all of this text and just link to the RC5 versions.
Yeah.
And who knows? And this is why I like to have them do it instead of us. If you look at changes in 3.0, and you can see that we pruned the health qualifier, we've done some other things. They may have done something between RC4 and RC5 that is in that changes box, which is why I'd prefer to have them do it.
Exactly.
Okay, the other thing I like to do, go ahead and click on spec in RC4, HTML, just because it all comes up in one page and easily, I think. Is I like to go through and make sure that we have changes listed in here.
I guess on the bottom.
Yeah, you could probably look at the table of contents and scroll that.
Yeah.
So release notes is usually where it's at. Yeah. Right, and that's what they have. And you'll notice that just mentally, they only had 3 bullets in the release page, but here they have 4. Right?
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to compare the two and see, well, what's missing in their RC4 that we might want to add to RC5. That's the 4th bullet, right? That's the first thing. The second thing I like to look for is incompatible changes, right? And the reason I do this is because we want to communicate breaking changes. And one of the things I tend to do is I go and I update the slide. It used to be Cesar, but he left. He's not as active anymore. He changed roles and jobs and companies. But I kind of will own the release presentation this time through, and I like to look at incompatible changes and release notes here to see what's changed. So when I update the slides, I know what's changed. So search for the word incompatible in this page. Yeah, they don't have it here. Go back to the changes. It's already there. It's merged in. Yeah, that's not what it. Sorry, go forward.
Oh, I thought you meant this page.
Yeah, no, that's the problem with scroll down and go back to the 3.0 changes. There we go.
Yeah.
And you'll see that it says pruning health qualifier. Oh, items in bold are breaking changes. There we go.
Right.
So we're not very consistent on this. I said for this release, just go ahead and do that. I think when we hit working group status, we might want to be a little bit more formal about it and get some consistency across the specs. Other specs some will say they'll have an incompatible changes like section, right? Okay, so that's okay. So they have both, right? And they do have 4 bullets here, so I was wrong. For some reason, I thought they only, oh no, here they have 4. Go now go back to the release page. And you'll notice they only have 3 bullets. So what's missing?
The Jakarta adoption is not here.
Right. So when they release RC5, we just want to, so when you send an email off, say, please add the text and please add the 4th bullet on Jakarta 5. Okay. What's next? Now we haven't gone through, okay, go back. Actually, go up to the title. There you go. We went through config, right? Go up to the address bar. Change that to just -config. We should have been doing this as well. Okay, so config says RC1, we verified that. What we don't have in here is anything about breaking changes or changes, but let's see if it's in the HTML file. So let's go to the spec.html. There we go. And you'll see they have release notes, incompatible changes. Bingo, love it. These are all the incompatible changes, and they have the API changes and the functional changes. I don't go through necessarily, well, typically I do, it's gonna take too long here, is I'll just go through and just verify all of these. That's getting like really, really like down to the weeds. So here, you know, for RC1 here, I'll just skip it. And we got to have some level of faith in our fellow microprofilers that they've like not forgotten anything here. But sometimes it's a trust but verify situation, like we're the gatekeepers, right? So let's not do it here in the interest of time. But when we go RC2, even, you know, if we want to do another recording like this, I'd probably do it beforehand.
Yeah.
Right. Go through and make sure they haven't missed anything. Okay. Now, yeah, go back. Now do MicroProfile. No, go forward. Yeah, we want to do fault tolerance now. We forgot to do fault tolerance. So we did health. So it's just -fault -tolerance. There you go. All right, let's HTML. I think they almost always have it at the bottom. Search and page for incompatible or something, or go to the bottom. There you go.
Oh, there's all the way around. It's upside down.
Yeah.
3.0.
And there they have it, incompatible changes, and all other changes are there, right? So they've got a backward incompatible section. They've got all the other changes in there. Scroll down just a little bit so we can see a couple of the other ones. Right, they got functional changes, spec changes, and you'll notice that we're not necessarily consistent across specs with how we do this.
Yes, I see.
As we go forward, you know, I want to begin to fix some of these. So the one thing I have been bringing up to this point is let's make sure we document the incompatible changes, right? So next time, you know, next release, you know, once we get people doing that in this release, next release, let's go back and say, well, maybe we should, you know, be consistent about how we document these consistently across specs. So here they have functional changes, spec changes, incompatible changes, but the other specs didn't, right? So maybe for MicroProfile 4.1, we'll bring this up as an issue. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so let's go back to your other, what's next?
So we had config, we had fault tolerance, health, so metric is next.
Yep.
Oh, there's a release too.
Yep.
See?
So send an email off to whoever saying, please clean that up.
Yeah. Making changes.
Good. And you notice some people call them incompatible, some call them breaking. Again, we'll want to tighten this up as, you know, incrementally as we move forward. All right, so we got API, wow, API changes. Okay, and you notice here they have functional changes, specification changes, TCK enhancements. I suspect what's going on here is whoever led, what was it, health, or no, what was the last one we did? Fault tolerance, also leads this one, because you notice those two specs are consistent, but they weren't necessarily consistent with a couple of the other ones. Okay, so they have both sections. Let's go back.
So OpenAPI is last.
OpenAPI is last. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's last. Okay. Incompatible changes. There we go. API, SPI, functional, and other. I like it. So we got some level of consistency.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Okay. All right. So I think we're good there. So send a note. Oh, okay. That's Philip did that. All right. Okay. Open API is not the last one because everyone is updating. So.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
We need to check JWT.
Yep, JWT auth. There you go. Okay, spec changes, other changes. Now this one won't have incompatible changes because it's an incremental release.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
But they should have mentioned the Jakarta adoption, I guess.
They don't have any, I'm trying to think of what they have.
Yeah, maybe they don't, yeah.
They do on security, kind of, right?
Yeah, maybe so that's not applicable here.
I think they're going to do it for 2.0. They'll maybe say that. I can't remember why off the top of my head, but this is incremental release, and they might not have any direct dependencies on Jakarta.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, they do CDI, but anyway, let's go back. Okay, who we missing? There you go, REST client. Bingo. Nice job, Andy. Right. Spec HTML. Are there any, do a search for incompatible or breaking, right? They got Jakarta. All right, no, yeah, breaking.
Nope.
All right, so what I would do is send an email, or we could do this via Google Group too, by the way. That's actually better. So do these via Google Group instead of direct emails, and just ask, are there any breaking changes? In REST client, besides the Jakarta EE8 dependencies.
Yeah, so I will open a thread that says preparing the release candidate, outstanding questions for these specs. Can you answer them?
Bingo. I like it.
So it's public.
Yep.
For everybody. Cool.
All right, we're still missing, what, 2?
One last.
Is it 1?
Or maybe 2.
I don't know.
Open tracing and.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Open API. This is Open API.
I think help is the one.
What was that, Emerson?
The help is the one you didn't cover, I think.
No, health was, I think, the very first one. Oh, no, config was first. And yeah, we did health. I think health forgot to do the RC.
I have here.
Yes,
yeah, the documentation for 5.
Yeah, we got that one.
Yeah, so open API. Right.
And like I said, I can see incompatible changes. Awesome. Love it.
Okay, so
and they got the other changes. And like I said, normally I would go back and verify. I mean, that's an extra level of detail and take some time.
Yeah.
Okay. Then comes open tracing.
Open tracing is the last one then.
Yes. There you go.
Okay, so is this enough?
I mean, ideally
no.
they would have the change log in there.
Yeah.
You know, what's changed. I think it's also useful to have the incompatible changes there. But, you know, if you look at the number of changes they have, that's probably why they didn't do it. I don't know. It's worth, maybe not right now, but discussing at some point in the community. It's like, how do we get consistency?
Yeah.
Okay. It might be just
also
copying this section and sticking it under, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Or link to the HTML incompatible, right? Changes section. That's another way of doing it. Right. So just link to what we just looked at directly instead of listing them out specifically, and link to the HTML version. Right. That's what we would have them do maybe. Right. So yeah, click on that real quick. Expected HTML. Go to the incompatible section.
Yes. Yeah. So you can just reference this one.
Yeah,
Like,
and those are
cool.
all hyperlinks too, right?
Yeah.
In fact, changelog. I would have them link to changelog.
Yeah, for example, yeah. So
yeah.
Suggestion.
Because we want people to know what's changed and what's going to break, potentially. Okay, I am going to turn off my video very quickly here as I have a lunch. Hopefully you won't hear me eating. Okay, so what's next? We've gone through.
We have covered them all now.
Yeah, I think so. Did we double check the version numbers? -RC3, -RC2.
I thought you were doing that. Right. We started with that, but we lost track of it, I guess, because we were focusing on the.
Yeah, we did. In fact, if you just leave it up, I'll double check here. Let's see, I'll look at open tracing. RC2. Open API is RC3.
Mm-hmm.
JWT, is it just AWT, JWT, or JWT are auth? Okay. RC1, and what else did I miss
Health.
here? Health I did earlier. It's RC5.
Fault tolerance,
yeah,
RC2.
Is RC2. I think we have the latest of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally we wouldn't have to even do this check, but we've been in this mode for so long and people have updated a lot. We just want to do a double check. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, REST client. RC2. All right. All right, we can keep going down, I think. I think I did open API. Did I do metrics? Let me just do metrics just because. RC1. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit, make sure it says RC1 for metrics. Wait, they say RC2. Oh, it is an RC2. That's right. That's one we have to send a message to. Okay, that's right, RC2. All right.
So this is right.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
So this section is okay then?
Yeah. And again, normally what I would do is just like I would do this in the IDE, kind of like you do. And then I'd go through and I'd click all the links to make sure they're all valid links. I think we're okay here though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is not the, oh yeah, it is. But we didn't add the, we have to add a for those section here then, right?
That's a bug. Absolutely. Yes, we do.
I'll write it down. So this is the architecture.
Yeah, we're not going to want to do a build until we fix that though.
Yeah. So we can do that when we have checked everything in the IDE.
Mm-hmm.
So here just remove the Eclipse from the previous release.
So that got by me when I did the 4.0 milestone 1 release. Why does that not feel right? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not here. Yeah.
Okay, that got by me.
Yeah.
Okay, and Kevin because he reviewed as well. So
and,
that's weird.
And Stefan because he also reviewed.
Yeah.
So everybody missed it. Yeah, it's not too obvious though. So it's good. It's a good heads up to check that.
Yep. Okay. And what did you change? Okay, my other comment was we don't need to change the old ones to remove the word Eclipse.
Oh.
Because at the time they were Eclipse. So 3.3 and earlier should all say Eclipse MicroProfile.
Yeah. So I shall return that.
And 4.0 will be the first one to say just MicroProfile. Even when I did milestone 1, I left it in because it was still technically Eclipse MicroProfile.
Yeah, so from 4.0 it isn't anymore, or it shouldn't be anymore. So 3.3, and below I will return the Eclipse name.
Yep.
So that should be it.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
That looks good. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. 2020.
Yeah, I fixed the link here. The link was broken because the name didn't match.
Thank you. That's one of the reasons we need to click on those darn links. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, can you go up real quick? This is the required APIs doc. The version numbers are going to need to change, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. To the new ones that are supposed to be released in 4.0.
Mm-hmm.
So these will have to match the ones we discussed.
Yes. And so this is something that I also missed. Compliant implementations of MicroProfile 4 must be at least the following APIs and minimum versions. These APIs versions guarantee application developers a minimum set of APIs, right? Implementations may include APIs not listed as well as more recent versions that, than is listed below. So all that really means is, if I'm a MicroProfile 4 implementation and then an individual spec updates in between, I could update that spec, but that's all that really means. Okay.
We continue?
Yes. In fact, I think we need to get rid of the word "at least." Let's see, and minimum versions must. I think what we want to say is compliant implementations of MicroProfile 4.0 must provide the following APIs and versions. In fact, I would say the following specifications and versions.
Yeah, so we need to change this line.
Yeah. Because now that we're a working group, we're going to have compatibility tests and compatibility and branding logos, and the rules are going to be much more strict. So our verbiage needs to be more precise. So compliant implementations of MicroProfile, right, and this is going to be recorded, so you can always go back and listen, right? Compliant implementations of MicroProfile 4.0 must provide the following specifications and version numbers. In fact, the following specifications, and the versions numbers is already kind of implied, I think.
Yeah, so it must provide the following specifications.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To be even more precise, compliant implementations of MicroProfile 4.0 must pass the TCKs. Let's see, must include the following specifications and pass their respective TCKs. These APIs and versions guarantee application developers a minimum set of APIs are not intended to be restrictive. Implementations may include APIs not listed below. That's true as, I think we should probably get rid of that third sentence too.
This one?
Yeah, technically they can, but this is, I prefer to be more formal in terms of certifications. So we'll want to get that, let's get rid of that third sentence. No, Kevin might disagree, and as just, he's not here right now. In fact, I don't think he ever tried to join. All right. So update version numbers. Okay. All right, Java SE8. Right, so we have to update all of these.
Oh, so these versions have to be mentioned here. That's easy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, because that's an internal hyperlink, right? Is that what the double brackets mean? If you scroll up, 5 lines, those double angle brackets, I think is that an internal link? I can't remember what double.
Yeah, I think so, because I think that was the missing link here.
Yep. Right. So yeah, those should be in sync with what's in the double braces.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
REST clients, RC2. Why is RC2 under REST client on the right-hand side? That actually doesn't matter. How come it's not changed? I mean, it's not like bolded or highlighted with a background.
Yeah, that's. I was wondering the same when I was making changes. It was already there for some reason.
Oh, okay. Maybe it hasn't changed between milestone 1 and now. Maybe that's it.
That's maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the last change. The notice capitalization.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that all looks good. Do you want to go to
IDE?
Yeah, I guess. What are we going to do in the IDE? Because we've only got like 10 minutes left. So I don't know if we're going to actually do the build. I forgot to mention that today is actually a day off for all Red Hat employees. And I scheduled this and not realizing that. So I'm going to try and keep this kind of limited to the hour. And maybe we can do a build on Monday. So make the changes that we mentioned.
Yeah.
And then we could just do a quick review of those changes. If you go to that link I posted in the chat, so I don't know if we need to go in the IDE right now.
Chat.
Let's see.
I need to find my Zoom window.
Oh, it says that's a GitHub link. All right. Yeah. No, the GitHub. If you go back, to our Zoom chat, I pasted a link.
How I find the chat again?
There's a link off to the wiki.
Yeah, but I have to find the chat here. Chat.
So this is what it looks like. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm usually the one sharing my screen, so I didn't realize that when you go to another screen, your cursor still moves around, but the screen freezes. Okay. All right. So one thing I do is I go through and I make sure all of these steps. So look at, let's scroll down a little bit. You see there's spec, oops, I said down, I meant up.
Yeah.
All right, pre-release review steps. So spec release, verify a spec release has been created for each new update. So open that in a new tab, that link, spec release. And I looked at this morning and there hasn't been. So if you remember during the call, the live hangout, I mentioned, hey, we need to have a release plan. So you can see that MicroProfile I added, then fault tolerance metrics and config did, RBAC did, but we're missing some still.
Yeah.
I pasted, I think, did I already send it off? I might have already did. I already did a Google group message. I thought I did a Google group message to do this. If not, also send a message to the Google group, maybe in the same post. And we're missing some. Okay, we got fault tolerance, we're missing Open API, Open Tracing, REST client.
Yeah, so is GraphQL supposed to be here now? Because that's not the platform spec.
So this is used for all specs that we release. So even if you're a standalone spec, you still need to have a release plan in order to release. What we're doing here is, go ahead and click on MicroProfile 4. So all of those have to have a release plan. The standalones have to have a release plan. So if you're going to release a spec, period, then you have to have a release plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So next time when we do 4.1, we can hop on a call like this and I'll show you how to create a release plan. It's actually super simple.
Then I should have my committer rights and be able to do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's just editing a couple of forms that presents what you see here. So we need REST client, Open Tracing, Open API. You want to hit the back button?
Yeah.
And health.
Well, health is here.
That's 2.2. There are 3.
Yeah, so, yeah. Of course, I need to update the versions. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those 4 specs, So as part of this email, put in the subject, component specs read, right? Members read, right? MicroProfile for release, component spec members read. And then the 4 specs, Open API, Open Tracing, REST Client, and Health, all need a release plan.
But it's for 4.0 and not 4.1.
It's for 4.0. These are all for 4.0 because MicroProfile 4 includes those 4 specs and the 4 that have already created the release plan.
Yeah. So can you sum them again up and I write them down? Health?
Sure. Health, REST Client, Open API, and Open Tracing all need release plans.
Yeah.
And just link off to this this page.
Yeah, link to, what is this page called? MicroProfile.
Release
MicroProfile project. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just paste the link in your note, or you're writing them down by hand. I say you can always copy and paste the URL if you're typing in ASCII notes. Okay. So let's go back to the checklist, the release checklist kind of that we have. And this release checklist, by the way, is going to change based on what Scott created.
Yeah.
Right. You got to pass TCK. These are all things that we're going to want to add to this. Not right now until we finalize that list, but this is what we do right now. Okay. In MicroProfile project source, the build process, this is what I mentioned before, will update the POM, so don't manually change any of the POM files. Verify architecture.doc, verify readme.adoc. Right, we that's what we just did. We did everything. In fact, you were more thorough because of this becoming a working group, right? You went back and, well, you also updated copyrights and stuff like that. So in fact, we will want to edit this page and say, update copyrights in any artifacts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but you need commit rights to do that. Okay. Actually, no, this is a wiki. You're a member of the community and you have a login, so you should be able to do this, I think. I don't think you have to be a committer.
Should have a
edit box somewhere.
Edit button.
If you...
Yeah, I need to log in.
Yeah, I got to log in.
Ta-da. But then it's not just somebody has to accept it, I think.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not for a wiki.
So here we need to add. This is very unreadable.
Maybe at the very end, verify readme after that one. One more. There you go. After that one. Add a bullet. And just say, verify copyright updates. Oh, copyrights have been updated. Let's see.
All files that mention them?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of, something like that. They've been updated.
What about the incompatible?
Yes, that would be good too. All files that mention these, okay. And say, in fact, say verify copyright dates.
Yeah, better.
So, good point, Emerson. On spec release pages, or verify spec release pages. Contain release text, including incompatible changes. and changes and feature or
The
whatever.
PDF, the
There you
PDF
go.
is generated based on the ASCII dot, right? So if you change the ASCII dot, the HTML and the PDF are going to be consistent. So.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you link to the, just like you said, link to the changelog section.
Here's yeah, link to the changelog section at a minimum. Section directly, yeah.
Yeah, we want that, right? It's not formal, so.
I would say at a minimum.
Okay.
Because some also include the spec directly, which I actually prefer, but I understand it's more work. Test build locally. So you've already kind of done this.
Yeah, but I didn't do an install, did a verify, but that's a battle that's raging on the internet, right?
Dude, I think, every 6 months I go to my Maven directory and blow it away because it's like 40 gigs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So good point. Just to make sure it builds, and then look at the PDF, the generated PT, artifact, which is basically primarily the platform spec. And you go through and you look at it and make sure it looks okay.
Yeah. So do we need to change that here?
Maybe say add a bullet saying at the very end. There you go. Verify proper MicroProfile platform spec. Again, I think it's a PDF. Yeah, spec PDF/HTML. It generates both. Right. I open them up. I just scroll up and down pretty quickly just to make sure nothing's wacky. I think at some point this should all be just completely automated. When we're talking about that, it's kind of what Jakarta does, and at some point I think we should do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and save this. Okay, usually I do show preview, but I think we're okay here.
Oh.
We've had three. No, we've had 3 people watching you. So.
Yeah, living on the edge, right?
Yeah, we're living on the edge. Okay, test build locally. Platform releases require the marketing committee be notified at least 2 weeks in advance. Basically, I think we're so in tune this release that this is not a problem. We just need to make sure that we notify Ryan and Amelia and Tatiana, and myself, we're the ones that tend to be on the marketing call the most. So they can prep the website to change the website. Now we're very in tune this time because, right, they're creating working group pages, we're becoming a working group. But normally it's like if we go from 4.1 to 4.2, it's very incremental. And we don't want them to get caught off guard about saying, hey, we're going to release XYZ, right? So.
What is this? Oh. Yeah, so just make a point there. Inform.
It's already there, I think.
Oh, then
So all we do is we create a GitHub issue, right? And that's already described. I'm just kind of explaining what we normally do. All right, the next thing we do, update the MicroProfile calendar with dates. Okay, so this is something that I am going to do for 4, because I'm kind of managing the release schedule. I need to do this before Tuesday, really. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to look at the release date of any spec release. And you got to keep in mind that the first and third, and I always forget, Kevin just told me a couple days ago, I think it's the first and third Wednesday, not the second and fourth, but the first and third Wednesday of every month. Those are the dates that the Eclipse Foundation verifies the IP logs and everything is okay, that we can actually do a release, right? So what I typically do is I try and schedule for, if you look at the first, well, let's even look at it this way. We release October, February, and June, right? So I go into February, for instance. Let's say we're going to do a MicroProfile 4.1. I go to February. I look, okay, what's the first date of February, right? The first Wednesday date. Let's say it's the first to keep things even. It's like, okay, cool. Now let's add 7 days. The 7th, right? Or the 8th, whatever. And we're going to set that as being our target release date. Because we add 7 days, which is actually a lot, but for us to do exactly what we're doing right now, we go through, make sure everything looks okay. We do our double checking. We actually do a build, make sure the build succeeds. So we give ourselves some padding. So that's how I select like an end release date. Then you got to go backwards from there. And this is true of the component specs too, right? It's like, okay, well, then we got to go back, a week before the Eclipse Foundation does the review and make sure all the specs are final.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like,
yeah.
And then before that, it's just people working on specs. So that's typically what I put into the MicroProfile calendar. It's like MicroProfile 4.1. This is the target release date. This is when the component specs are due. Need to be final. So
like they don't have a release candidate anymore, but a final release artifact available.
Yes, exactly. And typically, we would do a candidate release just to go through the motions. And it's okay for us to include the candidate updates, component specs for that. So I'm trying to remember. Typically, I don't think I put a candidate release in the calendar, but we probably should going forward. This is going to be a candidate release. It's okay to have candidate specs ready, and just let everyone know. Okay, so that's basically what that first bullet means. Ensure to create a release notes section on the spec by following this instruction. So open that tab. Yeah, we already did this. Make sure that everybody has. This is why we have that consistency. So it's like, maybe it's health. One of them didn't follow this format. So we should maybe at some point go back and say to the spec, please follow this format and link to this page. We already did this check for all the specs. So go back. Mm-hmm. Let's not do anything right now.
Yeah.
Get third-party dependency CQs approved by the following dependency process. You want to click on that? This has been updated. I need to update this. Let's skip this right now. Let me refresh my memory. There's a new process for this. So we need to update this page. Let's go back to the...
Yeah. I'm trying, but my Zoom thing is blocking my...
See, now you know exactly what happens to me during the call.
I know.
It gets in the way of all the tabs. It's funny watching you do it, because now I know what other people see, right? They see the cursor moving around. And, okay. Let's skip this right now. I know you and I have done this before.
And we ran into trouble,
Edwin.
and that was fixed.
Yeah, we've gone through this process. Let's do this again with Edwin. Not Edwin, with Emerson, not right now, because I'm probably going to drop off here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And go ahead and make the updates that we discussed in your pull request. Let's see if we could set up another quick meeting and actually do a build and a release. But if possible, and I know I'm asking a lot here, for Monday. If we can't do it on Monday, then let's find another time.
Yeah. And Monday is hard for me because there's a conference.
Okay.
But,
Yep, no problem. Let's look.
It's EclipseCon.
Ah, right. Okay, let's do. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong calendar. That explains it. Okay, let's look at Tuesday or Wednesday. How do those look?
Tuesday evening looks good because it's always my MicroProfile evening.
Oh, but Tuesday we have the hangout this time.
Yeah, and it's a steering committee, so that's important.
Yes. And I'm on the wrong week. Here we go. Okay, how about Wednesday this time?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is, if you could make those updates, send the email to the Hangout saying, hey, we need these things updated.
Yes, I can.
Component spec leads. Then Wednesday, we can meet and actually do the build. I think most of the time-intensive stuff has already been done. Really what we're going to focus on next week is going to be actually doing a build and staging it. And I'm going to need to get you, let's see, here's one thing you need to do. Do you see where it says log into Sonatype? Do I have the instructions here? 6.2. We need you to open up an issue at Sonatype. Let's see, do I have that instructions here? No. We need to get you access to Sonatype as a committer so that you can actually, for example, release the final bits to Maven.
Yeah.
So right now I do that. So the way you do that, well, let's do that on next week because I'm going to do a quick double check. But basically, you just open up a Sonatype issue saying, hey, please add me as a committer. Send me a list, send me the issue ID. I, as an existing committer, can say +1, which is all they're looking for, and then you'll be able to log into Sonatype and make changes. So let me do that. Let me double check, or I'll send you maybe what I'll do is I'll send you an email offline that you could open up a Sonatype issue. And then we could document that here. If you're a first-time committer or first-time releaser, then do the following.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. All right, and next, so all we have to do, Wednesday, I think it is, and I'll create another calendar entry for the four of us with Kevin, and. Yeah. Then all we have to do is actually do the Jenkins build. And I think that's really it. And the Sonatype stuff.
Yeah, okay. So we have to merge changes and then do the Jenkins build. Yeah.
Yes, we have to merge the changes. Good point. Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Emerson. Thanks, Edwin. You got a little bit of a feel about what it takes, about what it's like. We got to coordinate all the spec people, make sure they're pushing stuff up, pushing stuff out, make sure all the relative things are up to date. We're the gatekeepers in a way, so we're the double set of eyes. And as you can see, we've already missed some stuff. Even I missed stuff last time around. So in some ways, we're gatekeeping each other. So typically what will happen is you'll make the changes, right? Or whoever the release lead is will make the changes. And then one of the other release, backups will go through and review them all. So we still have at least more than one set of eyes, right? All right, awesome. Thanks for joining, and I'm gonna upload this to YouTube a little bit later, and we'll finish this off next week.
All right.
All right. Good. Yep. Thanks.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yep. Bye.